Hi Libra. Welcome to your Aquarius season reading, February 2025. Before we get started, all information to work with me one-on-one is below. Website, payment options, scheduling link. There's a free guided meditation. There's a Patreon link for the extended reading, but this first reading and the meditation and anything new that comes out on Patreon most likely will come out on YouTube, but if you'd like it right to your email, you can sign up there. And I think that's about it. Yeah, let's get into your reading. I'm excited to talk to you. There's a lot to get through this month. Of course, we're going to do with the cards and talk about the cards. And the way I've been doing it is like whatever transits come out through the cards and through the arcanas, because there's a lot. Those are the ones I focus on, and usually it ends up rounding out into the extended readings. There's a lot about relationships happening right now, and I do have some notes, but we will see what the cards have to say first, Libra. There's a lot about intuition, especially for those of you who have felt like or have had especially issues with codependency. No matter how strong it's been, you may have felt like recently that your sense of self has been aligned, adjusted, or finally felt. There is a relief in some areas and also a deep recognition that your intuition shall and needs to be set free. So those are that's a huge theme of energetically of what's going on with you. There is a lot of cards that fell out, so we're going to go through them one by one. And this is so funny. How did this get here? How do things happen like this? There's like literally a sticker on the back. So I got this vintage, brief side note, I got this vintage moon tarot dish. Like I normally don't always like buy stuff like that of what I do or like wear things, but sometimes it's like really dope, right? You like what you like. And I love vintage and I love things that look vintage. It was super cheap and there's a sticker on it and I don't know how it got stuck to here. Like that is so weird. Anyway, does it matter? No, but random things, random occurrences. So right off the bat, we have the sun coming out. Intuition. How does that link to your intuition? This all links to also being how that links to your inner child. This is going to be the biggest theme of your month. It's very Leo, and it's you entering a new world. The sun has to do with the heart. We have the Three of Swords here, but we have this Ace of Swords, which is there's still more cards, which is just as important, because what you realize that through this heartbreak, this hurt that you have been dealing with for a while, because you're at the end of it. It's not anything new to you. For some of you, you felt this a few weeks ago once Chiron went direct, sitting across from you. Sun, moon, or rising, doesn't matter. But this is the opening and the expansion of your heart, being more free with your heart, being more free with your intuition, allowing yourself to move as much as you can on a day-to-day with your intuition. You're thinking about doing multiple things, write it down, then just start with one and see where you go from there. This is tying up any loose ends of a world meaning the way that you've been living in a way, a perspective, in a certain reality that you're breaking free from at this point. And the heartbreak of it is that it's possible that you've known. Maybe the world is looking back. Maybe this does date back to your childhood. The confirmation will come towards the middle end of the month, end of the season, so towards Pisces season, but end of February. So I would say that one of the other big moments is when Uranus goes direct in Taurus. So for those of you that is, if you don't know astrology, you may have noticed that for everyone, not just you. I had the flu, so I'm still like getting like mucus and phlegm. So what you'll notice is that everyone, including yourself, has been going through this time and this energy that's happening where you can feel there's a shift. There's a big shift going on in the energy field, and I've gotten many confirmation from other sources. But the one thing we can feel is that there is a sense of freedom that you can truly tap into at this time. You can free yourself from limiting beliefs, from any heartbreak, from anything that you caused yourself, from anything that had stemmed from being from being a child and you not have any control over it to having more control over it now. You're seeing the come out of a true transformation. And with this direction, so Libra risings, Taurus is in your 8th house. That is deep healing. There's sex, death, mental health, resources. There are ways in which that you have been overly attached to creating in a way that you can't really control. Now you're being given the option to not only be very focused on something important to you, something you're passionate about, something that's deeply inspiring to you. And it could be a Taurus revealing this to you, but I do think this is a revolution. And you've been doing the day-to-day, right? The message is like the chop wood carry water. You are doing what you need to do every day, the tasks. You may find yourself being able to do the mundane tasks of just like cleaning and doing those things to take your mind off and let it wander, only to gain more insight. What you may look up and notice is that you have more than you think. You know, that you're very abundant in this area of life. There's a lot that you know. There's knowledge that you have, especially what you've learned in your one-on-one relationships throughout this past year, the one with yourself. And it's also going to ask you to be brave and to have courage. I'm sorry, my voice. That this is that true commitment to yourself. For a lot of you, this is a very refreshing month. This is about caring for not only yourself, and I'm going to talk a little bit about beauty, and how some people think that beautifying, this is also a Venus card, that beautifying yourself is, you know, that could be self-care for some people. And what I think for us Venusian people, me included, that beautifying yourself in any way that it means to you to take care of yourself is a really deep act of soul care. And there's a beauty that comes from that. There's a certain purifying or cleaning of beauty that you're doing and that you're paying attention to. So if you're doing these rituals where it makes you feel good, and when you do it, there's good energy going into it, and then it ends up being in good results in your favor, why would you stop? There's a deep sense of security in all of the things that you do, regardless of how it appears again to the world, to the outside world. You also may notice, for some of you, that what you're going through is recognized by people around you, whether they say it or not. Because here's the thing about you. For people who don't see you win enough or see you exposed to the good, not just like being in conversation or in relationship or being present, but the part of you that does achieve and do well and just is getting to know yourself and taking the risks that you're taking. When you have wins, and even if you don't necessarily have a lot to add, so this is either way, notice who even asks and who cares, right? You may be seen in this certain way, but even There will be people who still don't want to, and there will be situations or coworkers, you'll just notice who really is supportive at this time, basically, is what I'm trying to say. Who is actually supportive at this time, because what you're going through is a little more public. Whether it's you, if you work for yourself, if you're doing something on the side, if you're wanting to get a raise, or you're doing certain things in order to, do differently at work, or you're looking for a different job, right? All of that will be seen from other people around you. It will be noticed. It will be witnessed. The thing about you, though, is now the Ace of Swords is here to say that anything that has stopped you before, and this is the kicker, the Three of Swords is about that connection between your mind and your heart. You may have been thinking for such a long time you've been doing things in the right way. If you've been raised to play small, if you've been made fun of, or if you've been bullied, or you really haven't given yourself the opportunity to achieve and feel like that's important and what people might expect it from you, you've learned to expect something from yourself. You've learned to realize, and you may have come up against at this time, and including myself, is what parts of your life that you have ideas, but you stop yourself from executing. Where do you execute? No problem. There's no block there. There's nothing stopping you from A to point B, especially if it's for other people. Think about how if it affects other people, how much more willing you're going to do to go about it. But when it's for you, something you want to do, this doesn't have to be like, creating a business. This could just be like the things that you truly enjoy to do in your life that is for you. Here's the interesting part. What's stopping you is just the doubts or the fears or the insecurities that come up. So this first row, especially the Ace of Swords, and then we have the Empress, is about mental boundaries. Aquarius season wants to give you a lot. It wants to give you the world. It wants to give you the spotlight. It wants to give you healing, especially the healing deep within your heart that connects to the beliefs that play out in your mind and your day-to-day life. There's a change happening. The Sun, a Leo card, there's a secure sense of self here. You've now given enough attention to the parts of yourself that have been calling to you for such a long time. And you're able to allow yourself to notice where it's coming from. The Ace of Swords, what's interesting about this Ace is it's the only one that wears a crown. I love the Ace of Cups so much. But I also want us to notice that the Ace, I love all the cards, but it wears a crown. This is about protecting your crown. Crown chakra. If you have a crown, bless. But this is protecting your mind. She wears gems around like a tiara. I think it's made of gems. What is that? What do we know in the metaphysical world? It helps your crown chakra. When we're talking about how rocks and crystals help you, that's the metaphysics of it. And it's just such a beautiful thing, a beautiful gift. And because of what you're healing and you're putting boundaries up and you're clarifying, you're able to stand really tall in yourself and let go. There is a source of letting go. There's something that you have been working on, 8 of Pentacles to 7, that has overstayed its welcome, and maybe it's time to transform it or share it with the world. Take a risk, be brave, put it out there. It's very fire sign. Venus will move in to Aries on the 4th, the same day that Jupiter goes direct. Aries, Venus is moving into your 7th house of partnership, so that will be amped up. You might be if you have a partner, you may experience this, a lot of love, a lot of direct connection. All depending on how much you've worked on your egos. There might be some of that comes up, but it connects you guys to each other with your mind. And you might want to focus and around that time for things that you love to do, things that your partner loves to do, things that you both like to do together, especially that inspire both of you to maintain a disciplined focus in your, not only your relationship with each other, even the people around you, your connections with the world, how you choose to spend money, interact with your day-to-day life. So that could come up very much so, or be conversations that you have in your most intimate relationships, or if you take clients. So you'll notice there's a lot of self-focus, a lot of on mental health, boundaries with the mind, that also relate to how we move forward. Temperance is the hips, how we move forward. This new moon is also a Sagittarius degree. So how you move forward, how you're moving forward in your life, whether it's mental, if you need to mentally move forward, if that connects physically, emotionally, spiritually, no matter what it is, it's going to be up front and center during Venus transit into Aries. But right now, Venus in Pisces is very much giving you, there's a lot of growth in your work environment, and also for you to feel your most vital. So if you feel an extra emphasis or thought to connect more with your health and do more healthy things, even still, do the things that you like, but if you're having, again, this overwhelming intuitive guidance, especially about the body, take it. Do the things like, I love my coffee, I like my caffeine, I like my drinks, but I'm drinking hot water with lemon a lot, maybe with some turmeric, because there needs to be a balance right now in how you purify the knowledge that you have and what's coming through you, because what's coming through you is you feel so connected. There's again, like I talked about, there's this deeper connection with yourself, but you also feel more connected to the environment in which you're growing. So whether it's a job, your home, you're working for yourself, you feel very connected to that growth. But you're not overbearing. There's this space, this healthy space that Empress gives her environment. And whatever you have been working on that it's now time to let go and set free will open your heart in a way that it even deepens your connection more. This is very spiritual. That's happening with you. Aquarius season, lots of insights, intuition, telepathy, and sharing what you're passionate about, not being afraid, especially in your close relationships, but in the way that you relate to the world, you relate to yourself. Maybe if you shared with the world how you relate to yourself and how you have and where you've come and how far you've come, there could be a lot more insight in the wisdom that you've gained thus far. You may not realize how strong you are. If there's anyone in your life that can help push you or show you how strong you are, this might also be a great time. I think more than anything, what the cards are showing you and what's coming across, Libra, is that this is a new time. If you do feel that deep sense of self shifting and getting so clear on where it is that you want to go, or the message that you want to spread, if there is one, the purpose that you could be connecting to. This is about getting to know yourself while you're doing it, that it's always a journey. Like letting go and actually letting yourself be the artist and be the art that you are. Then maybe you'd realize that whoever's watching, you don't realize, that you're a piece of art. Oh, this is beautiful. And if people decide to watch, they're watching a work of art in progress, always. But if they're deciding to watch, just think like how interesting it is, not how insecure or how like, oh my God, someone's watching. It's more just like, yeah, of course you're watching me. And that's the flip of your attitude. It's like, oh yeah, like of course. Doesn't matter what I do, of course. Like this is going to happen. And it's about separating and this is a great time to do it, is like that boundary between how knowing that and perceiving that affects you, just affects you and how you choose and how you don't choose to act, right? Like what is instinctual and what comes from a self-consciousness, right? Meaning self-conscious, meaning insecure. Instead of like, oh, I'm coming from a secure place. I know who I am. I know what I am. And I know how to have a good time. This is also about enjoying yourself. Enjoying what you've created. Putting something out there because you enjoy creating. Or wherever you're at in your life, you just, there's something that you have deeply connected to and enjoy. And you don't want to hide it as much if you've been hiding it, or you want to release more of this energy. I'm just like really looking forward to this development that you're having here, this freedom. There's a lot of freedom in your heart happening, but it's not coming from, it's just coming from such a grounded and smart place. Your life is changing, and if there is any love interest in your life, if you're single, I don't know if I talked about that. If you're single, this is a great month where you might meet some people. I don't think you'll entertain anything very seriously because you're in such a great spot, but I wouldn't allow that to sway your opinion too much. You know, if someone could meet you where you are right now, especially if you're single, if someone can meet you where you are right now, that person is probably the best fit for your life at the moment, and that could obviously develop into something. And not being afraid to really share and expose yourself, but also like to the extent of your liking, right? You can do whatever you want, how you want to connect with people. How do you want to move forward now that you have this with yourself? You might even find that you want and you crave more solitude. Like that is also could be just a natural progression. Yeah, of course you'll be around people, you'll be doing your thing, they'll be noticing you, but there might be a lot of solitude and alone time. Another thing Taurus tells us is that there's solitude. The Fool. This is a very independent journey. This is something that you're developing, that you might want to write down, that you might want to create art out of in some type of ways, that the journey that you're embarking on at this moment. You may find yourself wanting to appreciate art, browse more, go to museums, just be very in your environment, doing things that you like to do, things that make you feel aesthetically like satisfied. Oh, and I was gonna call this the panoramic view because it's just seeing how broad your life is, like how much you have to offer, how much abundance there is, and also where you would really like to create. It's not just about improving, it's like, where would you like to create? Where do you want to utilize all this mental, like brilliant mental energy that's coming, that you're receiving, that you have right now? And feeling like your brain has gone through its own transformation, its own rebirth, perhaps for some of you too. So I'm really looking forward to getting into this next part. As always, I feel like we never really tie up the Libra reading with like a pretty bow. But I think that just the bravery of being yourself and standing firm in yourself and being very clear with your sense of self and your sense of self-worth and what you've been working on behind closed doors, and how the freedom that you feel comes from that internal progress. I think you've maybe been looking external and you always have, you know, it will show up, but there's something that you weren't quite expecting was this, perhaps, for some of you. So meaning this deeper connection with your sense of self. This feels like the sun, the light switch just turned on. So that's how I feel anyway. And the more that you feel connected, you know, the more freedom, the more there is to play, the more there is to roam. All right, Libra, I'm so excited. Let's take a look at the cards right away in the next part below. That will be in the Patreon link where we get more in depth into especially the Leo full moon coming up, and the transits and all the body parts, because we have the head, the throat, speaking up for yourself. That is also, before I end it, speaking. Again, like I said, sharing yourself in this way where you're taking the stage, where you're there, where you're okay with being not only a part of and have been a part of something, but sharing something of value, something that you can detach from, something that makes you feel brave, that gives you courage. Maybe that's something you want to share. Okay, cool. Libra, I love you. All information is below. We'll get right into the second part. Again, there is a guided meditation for Aquarius season or just a grounded sense of connection. And I'll see you soon.